rainy day, so I thought we could read Atomic Ghost. Poets Respond to the Nuclear Age, edited by John Bradley. When the Vacation is Over for Good, by Mark Strand. It will be strange, knowing at last it couldn't go on forever. The certain voice telling us over and over that nothing would change. And remembering too, because by then it will all be done with, the way things were, and how we had wasted time as though there was nothing to do, when, in a flash, the weather turned, and the lofty air became unbearably heavy, the wind strikingly dumb, and our cities like ash, and knowing also, what we never suspected, that it was something like summer, at its most August, except that the nights were warmer, and the clouds seemed to glow. And even then, because we will not have changed much, wondering what will become of things, and who will be left to do it all over again. And somehow trying, but still unable, to know just what it was that went so completely wrong, or why it is. We are dying. Lorine Niedecker, The Radio Talk. The radio talk this morning was obliterating the world. I noticed fruit flies rise from the rind of the recommended melon. Diane Glancy, Harry S. Truman Library, Independence, Missouri. Your birth to a mule trader in 1884 wasn't much noticed. No more than the large hole in the cloud the morning of your death. But a photographer for the Kansas City Star, waiting at the hospital, saw it when he left, and we read it in the news. Heaven opens to receive a leader. It seems there was always an opening for you. After you failed in the clothing business, you went into politics. County judge, U.S. Senator, Vice President, you whistle-stopped your way from Missouri to the White House with Bess on the B&O. In your library, Margaret's silver fork and spoon, her dolls' shoes, jackets, a little stove with an electric cord. In pictures, women in large heeled black shoes and hats with veils listen to your Missouri waltz on the White House piano. They wave their handkerchiefs at the 1950 Lincoln, where you sat with your 2 radios and 2 heaters. In your library, your briefcase and letters, your convention memorabilia, a Truman is Human campaign button, flags, ballot box, a matchbox with a mule on the cover. Then down the hall, we finally get to it. A Japanese doll given to you in 1950, not 5 years after the bomb. We walk silently past the display case, wondering why some are blessed with a hole in a cloud, while others watched a bomb under a parachute. They first thought was food for American captives. And even after the sparkle of white light, some still didn't know. The blossoms that fell from the sky were from a kimono 25 kilometers away. In the gentle library, it's hard to imagine black rain. A burning ring around the sun, blistered flesh draped from bodies. Vomit. Diarrhea. Some going insane. Others crying for death. But you, Harry, carried on. Tough buzzard that you were, leader of our country. You were in Washington the years I walked to school over leaves that crumpled under my feet. My father in a bulky overcoat and fedora, waving, smiling, backed our car from the drive, the heater rattling like grease that popped from burning bodies. or the leaves from trees that lined the drive of the White House, and my schoolroom window. In your library, there's a replica of your Oval Office, with a ceiling like the cloud that opened the morning of your death. There's a mule shoe on your desk, a sexy picture of Margaret, a black telephone that rang that morning on August 6th. David Ray, for Harry S. Truman in hell. Your rusty Chrysler was advertised in the KC Star. I called, but was put off by the $5,000 price, though the man admitted chickens had roosted in it 3 decades, and he had only lately found out you owned it. Drove it to the store a few times and in a parade. I've always hated you because you said you'd lost no sleep over those children of Hiroshima. Then sent the bombers back to wipe out Nagasaki, and yet I admired your desktop phrase, "The buck stops here," and your unflappable sweet smirk, rivaled by those great ones, Jimmy Stewart, Glenn Ford, Henry Fonda. Once I took my mother and her retired Army cook husband to your museum, where were displayed all those presents you got as president, including golden tea service from the Shah and a turkey carpet hung across a wall and well lit, and down the hall endless movies were shown in a little theater. Your campaign whistle stops back when we had trains with black balconies on their rears. Buxton Bess was with you, and you were unpretentious. Just an average guy from Missouri, the show-me state. In the White House, you played just one tune on the piano, Missouri Waltz. Once Lauren Bacall sat above you with legs crossed while you grinned. By then, we boys in backyards had mourned FDR, had heard over the radio his Kyson roll. TV was still fantasy, that ancient crone, who kept 10 parrots told us they'd show her pictures soon on the radio. Soon as the war was done, she pointed to 2 loose wires where they'd hook it up, but we were sure she was the fool with 2 wires loose. But neither our high school brains had grasped that men with good minds stood in the desert, placed their bets on whether they would blow the planet up or just New Mexico. Therefore, once, when no one looked, I stood above your grave and thought I should be Gulliver, who put out fires with P in Lilliput. For I thought I saw the fires of Hiroshima rage still in grass near your giant stone, saw frozen shadows of those thousands, just as they were caught forever in the concrete of 5 bridges spanning the river Kyobashi. But the FBI watched, no doubt. This was their sacred spot. Strange world. A man can go to jail for pissing on a grave, and yet a great one murders thousands. No penalty at all. Not for you, who sent a naked man screaming with his eyeball in his hand, who blackened thousands, tore breasts off a beauty so they bled like pomegranates. Children nursed their mothers' corpses to drink the milk of death. Hair of the streetcar dead stood straight from fear. A hand uplifted, burned with blue flames through its fingers. A squad of soldiers marching became a little ash and trickling flakes. Through whirls of fire that black rain fell, and you were proud, as if good deeds would never end, and we who followed would praise your name and hold it sacred in our hearts. For Harry S. Truman, in hell I loft my amber arc, and defy the authorities. One of the hole in your bronze fingers your admirers again and again steal your walking cane of Missouri willow, and again it's replaced at public expense.